I've had my own handful of, injuries from, shattering my foot to, obviously like normal sprains and tears. And this was like nothing I've ever experienced because everything should work, right? Like nothing is hurting. It was just weird because I just couldn't make stuff work. Like your hands is super crazy.
Pretty amazing that OneHitAway is kind of just taking on all of these surfers.
2021 has been an extraordinary year with so many recipients coming. We've had more in the first quarter than we've had all of last year. My father was a pioneer big wave rider, so to see full circle in my life is kind of interesting.
It's only a matter of time before this all blows up, like with football. Everyone knows now about CTE. Everyone knows, well, hopefully if you're paying attention, everyone knows that, these football players, they're messed up. And, a lot of them are saying, yeah, I would never let my kids play football because of what it does to your brain. And it's only a matter of time when it blows up in the big wave community.
Brett Favre is one of the greatest football players ever to take the field in the NFL. So he raised a few eyebrows in an exclusive interview with Matt Lauer when Matt asked him if he would let his own child play football.
If I had a son, I would be real leery of him playing.
Well, we know what happens to untreated brain injury.
Well, Favre may not be the only concerned parent. Pop Warner, which is the largest youth football organization, says participation rates dropped by 10% between 2010 and 2012. Brett Sidibaka is taking this semester off from college so he can recover from his third football concussion. He is with us this morning along with his dad, Darren.
It seemed like yesterday in 2014 when Brett and I were invited to go back to New York City and be interviewed by the Today Show.
So, Brett, you've had multiple concussions. Obviously, you did very well with the sport playing in college at Trinity, but you left now, made the decision to leave after your third concussion. What exactly happened? How did that last one change your life?
Well, I originally got my first concussion this year in August during the first practice. I went through the process to return to play, so you have to be symptom-free for 24 hours. I came back for my first padded practice after my concussion. 24 hours later, I was in what I considered full-on concussion land.
What is full-on concussion?
Your head is foggy, you're dizzy, you have headaches, you have piercing migraines. I pretty much couldn't leave my room. I had to wear sunglasses when I went outside. Still, I was in my dorm room 24/7.
That's a tough thing to hear. Yeah. I know you lived through it, Darren, but to hear your son talk again about what that was like, you're watching that as a dad.
This invisible injury is real, and you may not suspect it's real until it affects your own family. OneHitAway Foundation is a direct result of a family impact time. Our son Brett, senior year in college, middle linebacker, captain of the football team, this wasn't his first concussion. This concussion was a result of the manifestation of multiple subconcussions over the years of playing football. This one was the one that took him over the edge. This is the one that took our family over the edge.
This privilege I have to work with recipients is nothing I ever envisioned that I would do. You don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to run a foundation. Something significant has to happen, like the injury of our own son. When we started OneHitAway, I felt like it was my moral obligation to share with others that they didn't have to blaze their own trail and that brain healing was possible.
Back in 2014, our vision was, let's get this started. Let's tell everybody. Back then, we were the only nonprofit in the country with our designation. Today, 7.5 years later, we're still the only nonprofit in the country providing resources to those athletes affected by sports-related concussion.
With my concussion, I immediately lost all of my sense of balance. I couldn't balance on one foot. I had a really hard time talking. Whatever I wanted to say just wouldn't come out. I lost my ability to critically think. Coming from an engineering background and, my life being centered around problem solving, not being able to problem solve was ultimately one of the scarier parts. I've been around enough athletes and have, seen enough head injuries to understand that this is something that could affect me for the rest of my life.
The recipients themselves need to have validation that what they're experiencing is real and true. They're not a slacker. This isn't the kid that just decided they're going to just stay home for a while. This is actually ramifications of a brain injury. This person who can't sleep at night, who's anxious to even walk into groups now, can't handle the checkerboard floor in the grocery store, they're concussed. But we don't see it because it's not across their forehead. It's deep in their brain. It's affecting their entire life.
Okay. I'm Audrey Lambadakis. I am a big wave surf photographer. Have a brain injury that I'm recovering from. In between doctors, I had a lot of time, and so I'd go to Westcliff in Santa Cruz and take photos of all the surfers. Over the years, the natural progression went to big wave surfing because we have Mavericks about an hour away. And I've been documenting Mavericks since 2014. Sean Dollar, who's a big wave surfer, also a huge advocate in brain health, he suggested that I get in contact with OneHitAway. From there, I ended up interning with OneHitAway and started just sending them surfers. The brain injury world is one that is filled with a lot of misunderstanding and pain, and it's really lonely. One of the things that has kind of brought my life more joy is helping other people through it, because I spent 10 years trying to recover and haven't been able to live my life to the full extent of what I want it to be.
When people come to OneHitAway, they are scared. Most of them have been injured or wounded for quite some time. They're not sure if they'll ever be better. They think that this is the life they have to live. It's sometimes too much to bear for people. And without hope, there's nothing left.
To know a way out in a struggle is your own choice, but to not know a way out and to have to struggle is just a tragedy.
Well, I think the game doesn't need to change. I think what needs to happen is that the awareness of healing the brain needs to be so much of a bigger effort from youth football through the professional side, and that's what happens. These young men and ladies get off the field, whatever sport they're playing, and they're without the tools to teach themselves how to heal the brain after the damage has occurred.
My name is Sean Dollar. I'm from Santa Cruz, California. I was a professional big wave surfer for paddling into some of the biggest waves in the world. I had 2 world records during my career. One a 55-foot wave at Mavericks, another one a 61-foot wave at Cortez Bank. All that ended in 2015 when I had a really bad surfing accident down at Big Sur. I hit a rock underwater, broke my neck in 4 places, and suffered a really bad traumatic brain injury. That's where my journey with understanding concussions and traumatic brain injuries began. It took me many years of meeting with different doctors and putting together a story and trying to understand what was happening. I was on the path that if I didn't recover, I wouldn't be here anymore. It was that challenging and the struggle was that real. And I was so alone, not knowing where to go, what to do, what was going on. I was getting terrible medical advice, and it was a really screwed up place for any human being to be in. I promised myself and for everybody else that I was going to find a way to get better, and when I did, I was going to share what I learned. Because I don't want to see anybody struggle the way I did. Through OneHitAway, through stories or interviews that I could do, that I could share kind of the hope and the message that you can get better, has and is making a profound impact on other people, and I'm proud of that, because it really just comes from too many people are struggling. Way too many people are struggling, and this is very much so a fixable issue that we can get healthy from.
The last thing that people think about with surfing is brain injuries. But yet, we have longboarders who are getting concussed. We have the big wave surf. It's not just the big waves that are causing these brain injuries. Surfing is really dangerous.
Water seems beautiful and soft and flowing, but when you're on a big wave, waves are like concrete. And those brave men and women riding surfboards through those waves are getting annihilated.
My name is Tanner Waite. I am an avid surfer and a mechanical engineer. My concussion came about when I was surfing on the North Shore of Oahu. I was surfing Waimea Bay on a pretty big day and paddled out, managed to take the biggest wave that I've ever seen in my life on the head and had to swim under it. After a couple hours, I managed to lock into one, and as I got to the bottom, I lost my balance and effectively flew off my board and went face first into the water. I came to right as I was coming up to the surface, somehow managed to pull my inflation vest and kind of like keep me at the surface, at which point I took another 2 or 3 waves on the head. And it wasn't until I was surfing like 1 foot waves a few days later at another spot, I kind of just jumped off a wave like I normally would and hit my face on the water, and that's what did all the damage.
You know, a part of understanding concussions, it's really important to understand that there's a thing called subconcussions, which a lot of times us as surfers, football players deal with, which are the small little head injuries, ones you don't really think about. But falling on a wave and hitting the water would create a subconcussion. It's not going to knock you out, you're not going to see stars, but you're doing a little bit of damage. And over a career, those add up, like a linebacker hitting, you know, the other team in front of them every time they start a play.
People are going to start being vocal, and either you're on the side of, you know, fixing the problem, or it's going to be denial. There's very little money in surfing, and the few surfers that get sponsorships, they don't want to mess that up. And why would they come forward and let, you know, sponsors know, oh yeah, no, I'm totally getting concussions every time I go out.
Called a doctor, tried to get set up with my healthcare provider, couldn't really figure anything out. Actually got a hold of a friend of mine, Audrey, who I believe has also been interviewed for this documentary. She pointed me in the direction of OneHitAway, and they were immediately by my side and doing whatever they could to make sure that I was in a good spot, and, you know, that if I did need help or any sort of assistance getting treatment, that they were willing to do whatever it took to get me there. Jill, you know, went way out of her way to help me and set me up with a treatment center down in San Diego.
People love sports. We would like people to have the opportunity and to know that they do not have to sacrifice their brain and their life for the sport that they chose to do. That there is preparation, there's also post-treatment and healing that can take place. So you haven't just sacrificed yourself. There is opportunity for healing. Your journey and your future is not set in stone, because brain healing can happen.
I think that the mission of OneHitAway, which is pretty amazing, with getting athletes back to their sport. It's not like with these big wave surfers, we don't want them to not surf big waves, but there are ways to do it that are smart.
But knowing what happened to you,
Right,
thinking
absolutely.
down the line, or another parent said, should I let my kid do what you're doing?
Knowing what I know now, kind of like what my dad said, it's important to know the steps to recover your brain, because as a college athlete playing in high school, I played Pop Warner. All through the years, I was trained to be the fastest, I was trained to be the biggest, I was trained to be the best football player out there, but nobody trained me on how to take care of my head.
That's what this is all about. And I know a lot of other surfers and a lot of other friends that have started taking their head injury seriously and seeking treatment and are having recoveries. Waiting around for it, hoping you're going to get better and just waiting for a miracle, you're kind of just out of luck. You know, you've got to go and do the hard work. You have to go do these alternative treatments.
I've obviously learned a lot, and the engineer side of me analyzes pretty much every single aspect that I can think of. And, you know, this experience has taught me a lot about how to take care of yourself and how important mental health is, and taking care of your brain. Now, going into these big waves and even just the waves around here, now I know that in the event I do hit my head, I will be able to approach the healing and the recovery in, you know, the most efficient and best way that allows me to get, you know, back to 100% or as close to it as possible.
I would like to commend our recipients and their families for being so brave, for not giving up, and for asking for help. Because OneHitAway can't help you if you're not asking. And OneHitAway can't help people without the support of our donors.
One of the amazing things about OneHitAway is that it injects this glimmer of hope that, you're not alone. You can recover, and you have people in your corner that know what they're talking about. They know what treatments you need to do. They know what doctors you need to see.
I get a lot of requests for help, and what's been so awesome in the last 2 years is referring all these people. I give them the information I can through my website and stuff, but I refer them to Jill and the team at OneHitAway, and they're liaisons to all these people that are concussed with traumatic brain injuries, and they're getting a ton of help, a ton of information. Some of them are getting sponsorships. It's just absolutely incredible. Like, to see people recover that I know because of the direct benefit from OneHitAway is just so cool. I am just so grateful that there's an organization there that takes us on.
What do you do when you have a brain injury but you don't have any money?
Brain healing treatments, most of which are not covered by insurance, are expensive. Most people need financial support. Many people have not been working, their child has not been able to be in school, and they have been spending money, out-of-pocket money, on potential treatments. So most people need some support financially.
When we started OneHitAway Foundation, the 3 co-founders realized real quickly that we were not going to take a dime in salary or take a fee.
Your generous donation does not go to lavish fundraisers. My teammates and I do not ask for a fee for our services, for our support, our coaching, and our guidance. The money that you give OneHitAway goes for treatment.
OneHitAway took amazing care of me. I couldn't imagine like a group or a nonprofit taking better care of me or being more attentive. For me, it gave me a lot of hope, and I'm pretty well confident that if I didn't receive that treatment from them, or at least been pointed in that direction, I wouldn't be anywhere near where I am now as far as healing goes.
We don't take this for granted. Today and our future is just as strong as the donors and contributors that are viewing this or are thinking about contributing to this wonderful cause that allows the invisible injury to be recognized and to be treated for those athletes that deserve this. And we absolutely can't do this without you.
So what can you do today? What we need you to do today is help donate. We need you to participate in OneHitAway. We need sponsorships and we need funding to help these athletes recover, to help people get back on their feet, to help people to be reunited with their loved ones emotionally, and to connect again with themselves. Really, OneHitAway is performing miracles in people's lives and changing people's lives back to, what they used to have. And, any donation, any monetary, amount that you can give will have a huge impact in someone's lives. I've seen it with a lot of people, and there is more and more requests coming through the door, and we want to be able to meet everyone we can and help them out. So please give, and I appreciate it so much.